foggy. Yeah, it's misty and it's nice and cold and fresh and crispy. Yeah, we're going to explore this area today. For some fishing holes. And yes, do a bit of off-roading. See you guys there.
Welcome to this adventure of Expedition Aotearoa. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us get there and back. We travelled to Lake Taupo and stayed near the little town of Tauranga. We stayed near the shore of Lake Taupo itself. While we were there, we decided to take some of the little forest roads that leads down to the edge of Lake Taupo. On one of these roads, we encountered a little bit of trouble. We wandered down one of the two tire tracks that lead down to the lake shore. Although it was raining, we didn't expect to see as much water as we found when we went down this track. It was getting progressively wetter as we travelled down this track. Eventually we ended up at a portion where the whole road was underwater. It was slip and slide for all the vehicles. Luckily it wasn't a steep drop, it was a gradual down to the shore of Lake Taupo. When we reached the shoreline, we saw that the water was much higher than what we anticipated. We should have basically turned around here, but we went forward. I went down this little lane and entered a ditch, just barely got through the ditch. Right behind me was Tehan in the Fortuner. He didn't make it. Tehan's front wheels went over a root in the pool and he was stuck. His back wheels was in the air and we got Jock to move behind him with a Prado and to try and jerk him back.
Yeah.
This didn't help. Tehan was stuck.
Okay, daar is strafstop materiaal hoor.
Alright, maak styf, Jock.
The biggest problem here was that Jock hadn't a lot of traction and couldn't really wedge his vehicle into anything or get his wheels on anything solid. It was mud everywhere. The problem went further. Tehan was now in the way of anybody getting back. So I was on the other side with my winch. I couldn't get through. And Tehan was stuck in the middle and Jock at the back behind him that couldn't get through as well. The Val was also on the same side as I was, and he couldn't bring his vehicle around to help Jock out. Eventually I had to drive into Lake Taupo all the way around all the bushes to get to the back of them, and then I could use my winch to pull Tehan free from the hold that little pond had on him. Here you can see the Val also needing to go into Lake Taupo to cross around so that he doesn't need to come around the same way as Tehan did. He was afraid that he could get stuck on the way out as well, so he also had to travel into Lake Taupo. Normally these parts that we travel is dry, but this year with all the rain the water was this high that the vehicles had to travel in the water. Soon we were free of the hold that Lake Taupo had on us. As we drove out of this area, we met up with Werner, one of our sponsors from PAWS Printing. We ventured down another slippery track, and now it was my turn. My vehicle's nose just dropped off the path and into a little hole, and I was stuck. No traction to get out. Luckily, Tehan was behind me, and this time he could rescue me. By now everybody was wet and muddy, and our vehicles looked in a sore state. We travelled away from Lake Taupo and ended up near an old rickety hang bridge. We had so much fun scaring the Val while he was on this bridge.
Duval, why are you so scared?
Jan, jy het al 'n history.
Waipahihi Stream. We previously stopped at Waipahihi Stream when we did the 42 traverse. As this was our second stop, we decided to pop back in and to see what it was looking like now. Last time we had a lot of water and it was raining just as much this time. The going was slow, risky, but we did it. Here Tehan had another close call, second time for the day, when he slipped off the track. All our vehicles made it through safely and decided to call it a day afterwards. We've seen a lot for this day and decided to go back home and have a good braai. Now for the English people, that is when you do meat on coals. Kino Ski Field is one of these places that's not a hectic 4x4 trip. Yes, you do go up against the mountain, and yes, there is a few rocks, but none of these are dangerous if you stay on the road. The biggest problem with the Kino Ski Field is at the top there's always a heck of a lot of wind, and it tries to blow you right off the mountain. Can you hear the wind now? On our last day, we reached the middle of the North Island. Now this is a real place. They built a little statue or monument there because somebody has put this place as the middle of the North Island. So presumably, if you could take the North Island and balance it somewhere, the somewhere will be on that specific point where the monument is. We travelled by road there. It's quite a long and windy road. It's probably the worst road with potholes that I've ever seen in New Zealand. But keep in mind, this is an untarred road or unsealed road as they call it, and I don't think the upkeep on this road is that well done. Once we've reached the point where we had to park our cars, there was still a while to go and a long walk lay ahead for us. We did this in the cool and chilly morning air, and we eventually reached our point, the middle of the North Island. Only a few of us did this trip. It was fun, and one day we will have the privilege to take you there and have you with us, and have you around the campfire as well that night. Thanks to all our sponsors who made this possible. Thanks guys.